B and Miss Elizabeth here to share with you some cool information on the TLR. How you doing today, Elizabeth? I am just dandy. She's super excited to be part of the show today, so we welcome all of you, and we want to thank Cairo Secure for always being there for us. So, you ready to do this, girlfriend? I'm ready to roll, baby. All right. She's gonna go take a nap while I continue on. So, TLR, the tonic labyrinthine reflex. This is part 4 in our series, and literally, Chiropractor is freaking amazing. They are letting amazing presenters come to you with incredible information, and we are doing a 4-part series or 6-part series, might turn out to 7-part series, bringing you information about primitive reflexes and why, and for free. For free. So go back and check out our older episodes, the last 3 episodes, either on the Intersect for Life Facebook page or Cairo Secure Facebook page, and you're going to learn a ton for free. So again, Cairo Secure, you're amazing, you're awesome. Thank you so much for always supporting us and having our backs, baby, and our having the backs of the little fiddle farts that are our future generations. So ping us, like Cairo Secure, shoot us a message in the comments, ask questions, whatever you need. We're here for you. So remember, on our first phase of this, I laid out integration order. The order these primitive reflexes naturally integrate in our if we are going through the proper motor development milestones, and if we're going through the proper sequence of integration. These are the order they integrate. So I'm going through them with you every month. A different reflex. This month is a tonic labyrinthine reflex. So you can grasp them a little tidbit at a time. Now, when you're working with reflexes, we generally, again, there's no cookie cutter program for addressing proper neurodevelopment because every case is different. The approach I like to use is giving you foundational concepts in order for you to take those concepts and apply them to each individualized case. So for the most part, we want to address these in integration order when we're working with little fiddle farts. However, sometimes you have to do one before you do the other. So just with that said, so we are on the tonic labyrinthine reflex. Let's rock and roll. What the heck is it? First of all, from a chiropractic standpoint, this is a huge reflex that represents the craniosacral rhythm. So it is really, really, you're going to fare better if you also look at adding in, making sure you adjust and look specifically at the upper cervical and the sacral segments, but also maybe look at doing some dural tube work or some cranial sacral work, because this reflex can hang up that cranial sacral rhythm. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. And when we fast forward here in a minute and look at some of the signs and symptoms associated with an active, persistent tonic labyrinthine reflex, you will see that connection with the dural tube rhythm, the cranial sacral rhythm. So keep that in mind. So for us as chiropractors, this could be a huge reason why when we adjust and we look at that cranial sacral rhythm, that we can have such a huge effect on getting this reflex to quiet down. We used to use the word integrate, that they're when they're still present, that they're not integrated. The term has really become to known as persistently active. And let's remember that these reflexes can be reactivated in times of stress, which is a huge, huge thing for us to keep in mind, given the last 2 years of crap storm that we've been enduring. So, stressors, traumas, toxins, thoughts, technology, tethered restrictions, meaning tongue ties, lip ties, but any subluxations, tethering on the fascial and the biomechanical system. Okay. And another one we use is terrain. So we use 6Ts when I in my Intersect for Life and Developing Minds world. We use 6Ts. The terrain, the microbiome of the terrain of the microbiome, but the terrain in which the little fiddle fart is being raised, their experience, their sensory experience that they're getting, especially in those first few months of life, because that experience, especially the motor movement experience, is what is going to help these reflexes to not stay persistent. Okay, so keep that in mind. So TLR, we've got two positions. We've got a flex position and an extended position. So you will see here in my little graphic that in the younger years, it integrates about 2 to 3 months in the prone position, all right, and about up to 4 months in a supine position. This actually can stay active in the prone position for up to 3 years, some are said to say. Okay. It prepares the baby for progressive movements from rolling to creeping to crawling to sitting up to walking, these progressive motor movements. If this reflex is staying persistently active, a lot of those motor movement milestones are going to be dysregulated. So with the baby, we want it to be there, right? The first 2 to 4 months of life. And what you're going to look at is in the supine position, that if you bring them in a supine position and drop their head, you're going to see that they're going to come up and flex, okay, roll up into a ball. When they go into, so think of flexing their head. I might have said that wrong, extending their head. When you flex their head, everything flexes. Arms flex, legs flex. So flex, flex, okay? So when you flex their head, arms and legs flex. When they are in a prone position and you extend their head, arms and legs extend. So that's an easy way to remember. Supine, flex their head, everything flexes. Prone, extend their head, everything extends. That's what you're looking for. All right. So every reflex, as we talked about in the first segment, every reflex represents a maturation of different sensory systems. Because we've got to build that base, we've got to integrate, not allow those primitive reflexes to stay persistently active. Postural reflexes and sensory motor systems that then can mature. So this particular reflex represents the maturation of the vestibular, proprioceptive, auditory, and visual sensory systems. Big kahunas, right? Those are big kahunas. All of those are going to be mostly vestibular, proprioceptive, and visual are associated with postural or core control, which is why if this reflex is persistently active, that core control, motor control is dysregulated, and I can't progress through those motor milestones of rolling, creeping, crawling, sitting, walking, etc. Okay, so make sure you know that type. All right, this reflex from a chiropractic standpoint is very interesting because it interacts with the other reflexes, allows them to integrate and not stay active as well, and helps that little fiddle fart develop coordination, postural control, and proper head on neck alignment. Aha! Huge for us, right? Proper head on neck and spine alignment. So what we want to think of is particularly the visual, vestibular, cervical triad, which is incredibly important for proper postural control. All right. So if it's catch-22, if they're persistently subluxated, a tethered restriction, it can allow for this or any reflex to stay active. And likewise, if this particular reflex is active, it can dysregulate that head on neck alignment, leading to persistent subluxations. So keep that in mind. So possible long-term implications if the TLR is still hanging out. Of course, balance and coordination difficulties, because that upper cervical spine is so huge in balance and coordination and vestibular function. You get this hunched posture. This is another one where our tech neck, our gamers, and so forth, you might see this persistently active because of their postural presentation. So we've got to look at these things in the modern day world that we're living in. Fatigue easily, poor muscle tone, trouble with visual depth perception, okay, catching balls, again, hand-eye motor coordination, speech, auditory difficulties. They can be kind of rigid and have jerky movement associated with the neurological consequences of that upper cervical spine. These can be your toe walkers because of that stress on that dural tube and that craniosacral tension. So oftentimes we see persistent toe walking. Toe walkers might be also a positive Babinski. If the TLR is persistently active, it can hold up those other reflexes. So Babinski would be one of them. Gut dysbiosis is another thing associated with toe walking. And usually what you will find is it's a triad. It's what I call a neuromatrix. There's many things that are going on, because if these reflexes are active, we're stuck in a chronic fight or flight response. Automatically your gut is going to be shut down. It just is. So some of the things we're going to see. This is a common presentation that we'll see in an academic arena. They just don't have the strength to hold their head up. They're putting their head in their hands a lot. They can't sit up, and they don't have that good muscle control. So again, constant subluxation patterns. So what are we going to do about it? One way, so again, with the baby, we showed you how to evaluate the reflex. You want it there in those first few months. You want it there. You don't want it to hang out. In your older child or your adult, older child, age 4.5-ish and up, if they can do it. Your autistic population, a lot of people ask me, Monica, how do I do these reflexes on the autistic population? You're really low functioning autistic little fiddle farts. You really can't. Okay, those kiddos, we need to look at different ways of evaluating those kiddos, because they will not be able to do these commands and demands. But 4.5, 5-year-old, higher functioning, what you're going to do is have them stand with good posture. You want to try to get them in a good postural position. Lots of times they can't with these persistent reflexes. All right. You're going to tell them, I give them instructions. I always demonstrate what I want them to do, because some of them have auditory processing struggles. They will understand you better if you show them a demonstration and be visual. So I want them to stand up straight. I'm going to tell them to close their eyes. And when they close their eyes, I'm going to ask them to look down at the floor, tuck their chin down, keeping their eyes closed. And then when I tell them to, I want them to keep their eyes closed and bring their head like they're looking up at the ceiling. Okay? But I will demonstrate for them what I want them to do. I'll have them close their eyes. I'll say, okay, bend your head like you're looking down at the floor. And I will count. I won't tell them that I want them to hold it for 10 seconds. The reason why is if I give them something to focus on, they might be counting in their head. Believe it or not, that can be a type of calming influence on the CNS, like an overflow movement. So I'll do the counting in my head myself, count to 10 seconds, Have them keep their eyes closed, and now bring their head up like they're looking at the ceiling. Okay? I want to look for, do they have an A, can they keep their eyes closed? When you take vision away and you want them to know where their body is in space and move in space without vision, that is a very heavy proprioceptive load. So A, I want to see, can they keep their eyes closed? Can they do this and not have an A to P sway or a lateral sway? If they're laterally swaying maybe to the right, you might think they have a weaker cerebellar function on the right. So you look for that. You look for, are they digging their toes into the ground? You'll see in this graph that I have her barefoot, because I want to see what her calves are doing, what her toes are doing. Is she tightening down and digging her toes in because she's not sure of where she is in space? These are little factors, little red flags that can mean a lot to you. Okay. Are they stimming with their hands? What is their facial expression? Or do they look scared? These are all little signs that this reflex is active, is still holding down that neurological integrity to some degree. The more that they mimic the infantile response, the more active that reflex is. So what you may find on this one in the older child or adult is when they go into flexion, they might, wince. They might dig their toes more. When they go into extension, they might have a very hard hit response on that extension, meaning they go back into extension and they boom, they really drop their head back because they don't know where their head is in space. They need more proprioceptive input to figure out, okay, my head is an extension, so they just really jam their head back. These are little signs that can be very, very telling. Okay. And you do this pattern for 6 times. All right. So drop any questions below. That's the older child. Another fun way you can evaluate this, I call it, fly like a bird. And you can use this we'll show you how we can modify this as an exercise to help foster integration and deactivation of this reflex. So the other way you can do this is you have the person prone with their palms face down, feet up in the air, legs straight up in the air. You would ultimately like them to keep their legs together, their feet together, okay, close together and not separated like we see her separated right here. All right. Bring their head up right here. Bring their head up. I usually am on tummy with them and see if they can keep a social engagement. See if they can answer a few questions. What's your name? What's your birthday? What's 2 plus 2? Just a few things to see if they can maintain eye contact and if they can not breath hold. See if they can keep their legs straight without bending them or trembling. That's going to be a good representation of core posture. All right. And this is another way we can test the integrity of the TLR, but we can also use this in an exercise. What I do is, and remember, these segments are stored on Chiro Secure's Facebook page and the Intersect for Life Facebook page. So go back and re-listen to them. They're there for free for your taking to re-listen and relearn. And if you have a question like, oh, what did that mean? Go back and listen. So you can use this posture, this position as an exercise. And then what I have them do is fly like a bird. They're in that posture and bring their shoulders, their fingertips to their shoulders, and like making wings on a bird, and hold that position for 30 seconds. And then because the tonic labyrinthine is a flexed reflex and an extended reflex, we want to foster both of those positions. This would be the extended position. They're flying like a bird. And then I have them roll over, and I have them roll up and put their arms around their knees and roll up like a bug, like those roly bugs, those potato bugs that roll up. So we will do fly like a bird, get into the extension, and then we'll roll up like a roly bug, and hold for 30 seconds, and maybe we'll do 5 in each position. Okay? Cool Beans Cafe. The other thing we can do is again, we're going to look at extended positions and then flex positions. This one, have them on in a Superman, if they can do it, a Superman presentation. And because the tonic labyrinthine is going to be a lot of visual, vestibular, proprioceptive, and auditory. A lot of visual tracking movements. I'll have them with a ball that they can bat back and forth, okay? Or a ball that they can pat like a cat. And then we'll have them roll over and come into a flex position. And maybe I'll have them scooped up in a flex position and do the ball bats or ball taps. Again, you're getting extension and flexion. And now you're adding in some visual motor in order to help that reflex integrate. So a couple of fun things they like to do. With the little fiddle farts with the babies, if you want to promote integration in a younger child, you can do the same type of thing. Get a big beach ball though. I get a bigger ball. You can go to the dollar store, get a beach ball, blow it up, tie a string around the plug of it, and it's a bigger item that they can try to put them in a beanbag chair and have them kind of curled up in a beanbag chair in a flex position, and have them try to pat the ball. So they're rolled up in a flex position, beanbag chair, pillows, whatever that helps them get in that little flex position. And then they have to try to pat the ball. And then they have to try to get in an extended position, maybe over a boppy or something in an extended position, and try to reach for that larger ball. Pie tins can be really fun because they're loud and annoying. So you can get pie tins and poke a hole in it and tie a string in it. And when they hit it, it sounds like a little, ting, 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 ting. Things like that. That is easy, cheap. Go to the dollar store. Parents are good. Kids have fun. So these are some ways again. So think flex position and extended position activities in order to help integrate, and then add the visual motor, okay, sequences with the hand, eye, and object coordination. So that gives you some fun, easy stuff to work on. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment. And again, go back, listen to the past classes. We are literally giving you a series of primitive reflex work for free. So again, ChiroSecure, you're amazing. Thank you for all you've done for the chiropractic profession, especially for the little fiddle farts. And for Miss Elizabeth, on behalf of both of us, we hope that you guys have an amazing weekend, Memorial Day weekend coming up. And Eric Kowalski will be back the first Thursday in, oh my gosh, we're already in June. Holy Hannah Butts. And we'll hang out again to bring you the next reflex, the third Thursday of June. And until then, keep being amazing, keep saving lives, and we'll see you then.
Today's pediatrics show, Look to the Children, was brought to you by ChiroSecure.